Okay, let's look at the 6 new legendaries barbarians have here. So Undying Rage increases your movement speed by 50%. I think this is actually pretty sweet. When you're in PvP or in challenge rifts, that's going to be the main times you're using Undying Rage. And then you'll be able to run out of there with an increase of 50% movement speed. Even without it, I do find it decently easy to be able to get out in that time frame when you have that like 6 seconds on Undying Rage when you just can't die. So having that boost there is really good. You obviously can't take it during group content because Demoralize is replaced with the Cry. This one is the main one that you really want to use, Battlemaster's Helm. And then other ones that I do like are Wrath of the Berserker. Sometimes if I'm just farming normally, like sprint duration increase, there's a couple of these are good, but nothing too crazy except Battlemaster's Helm, I think, and also Lasting Hate are like the two main ones. So I think this is pretty good. I might consider taking this in PvP. Then we have activating Wrath of the Berserker now immediately reduces movement speed of all nearby enemies by 80%. I think that's actually pretty sick. It really depends on how big of a range this is. If it's actually a pretty wide one, sometimes it's like a little small circle, sometimes it's really big. If it's one of the really big circles, it's even better. Wrath of the Berserker is obviously one of your best moves anyway. The stuff that you could be taking here, like Wrath of Berserker cooldown decreased by 15%, whirlwind damage by 10%, I think are all good. Sometimes I'll use Hell's Legacy, so I think this can actually be really sick. This new one here, 5 Fresh Claws, whirlwind now shreds armor, increasing all damage enemies take by 2%, stacking 5 times. I don't know why they do this, why they're saying shreds armor, when if it was actually shredding armor, it would just increase your crit damage. It should say just something a little different than that. It should just be like, shreds enemies' defenses, and then now they take up to 10% extra damage. I think this is actually really good. The two main ones I use are the Gathering for the extra CC, and then also I use Davin's Legacy a ton. So Hammer of the Ancients, maximize charges increased by 1. I do like that if I'm taking the Remembered only, so it's very specific. I think this is going to be a really good general use. I do think the Gathering is really good, so it's a hard spot to compete with. There is other ones that are pretty cool too. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do with your chest pieces because they modify the chain spear so much, and it would take a lot of playtesting and trying out, but a lot of CC can be gained here with the chest piece. So I think this is actually a good one. I think this is probably going to go right under the Gathering as a very useful chest piece. Then we have Compromise is Lost. Ground Stop now rips up on the ground, dealing damage to enemies in front of you, maximum 2 charges. I think this could actually be pretty sick. It depends on if it's actually better than this one, because this actually does a decent amount of damage. Ground Stamp now produces an earthquake, continually damaging enemies in the area, but no longer stunning them. So it's going to be pretty much between these two. The fact that it has 2 charges is very promising. But it's not going to be an AoE. It's going to be just, you have to target it in front, which is not really that big of a deal. Next, we have Lunatic's Twin, or we have Lunatic Twin. I think this is my favorite one out of all of these, because when Frenzy is fully stacked, each attack unleashes 1,617 damage to all enemies. That's going to be X damage based on your personal damage in front of you. Cannot occur more often than once every 0.4 seconds. So you're going to be attacking, you're going to be doing so much more damage with this, in my opinion, for single target damage. That's one thing that Barbarians have slacked with. And when it comes to single target, normally I just take Hammer of the Ancients 10%. Now we can actually take this and do crazy amount of damage, especially if you start stacking this with some of the set bonuses that increase your attack speed and your attack damage. Maybe we can start coming up there. I'm going to be trying to Demon Hunter as the class change, so we'll see if the damage even compares even with this, but this will definitely help Barbarians a lot for single target damage. The worst case, Path of Blood. Then lastly, Hammer of the Ancients now randomly drops hammers in the target area multiple times. I have no idea if this is going to be any good. Right now it's very tough to be able to beat Broken Soul, Dishonored Blade, and the Remembered. All of them are incredible, so this one would have to be really good. It's kind of weird. Randomly drops hammers in the targeted area multiple times. So maybe it's just kind of a big OE or something like that. But I would definitely have to see this one to really evaluate it.